Welcome to today's show. Today we have a very special guest, Suzanne Hunt. She had a career in modelling, and during her career in modelling she studied various modalities like NLP, beauty therapy, did yoga, traveled the world and did meditation and learned many things. And she's helped many people in her industry be the best they can be, prepared for castings and given them some subjective advice. And now she's expanding and embarking on a career of coaching. And in the career of coaching, her aim is to help people in the modelling industry and even outside the modelling industry. People who've got or will need help around self-esteem or confidence. Suzanne, welcome to the show. Good to have you on board.
Thank you for inviting me. It's great to be here.
Awesome, fantastic.
Thank you.
So let's go to the very beginning, Suzanne. The very beginning. Why did you go into modelling?
Good question, Jimmy. Why did I go into modelling? It was, the idea cropped into my head when I was probably about 14, 15 years old. And it was very much looking through the glossy magazines, seeing your role model and inspiring to be like that. And I think a few comments from friends and family, you know, why don't you give it a go? You're tall, slim, pretty, go for it. So I think the combination of the two really did make me think, right, I really want to tick that off the list and go for it and do that.
Okay, interesting stuff. So you're going through these glossy magazines, reading through them, and is there anyone specifically that inspired you? Any?
Back then it was Kate Moss, you know, Jodie and Gemma Kidd, Claudia Schiffer. So there's quite a few that, you know, were a big inspiration to me. So yeah.
Now that's really interesting stuff, and I find it interesting because back at school, at least when I was at school, there's no real career path for modelling, so to speak. No. It's like you had to make your own way. Yeah. So my next question is how does one get into modelling? How did you get into it? You're 14, you see these images and you think, I'd like to do that as well. You get some encouragement and then you go for it. What do you do? How do you get into it?
I got into it. It was it started off with me going to the clothes show, and it's probably when I was about 19 to 20 years old now, and because I didn't start it until more later later on, and it was a case of being scouted at the clothes show by more sort of start-up, smaller agents, and it was a case of them scouting me. And then I went to a few open days by some of the more reputable, sort of longer, sort of established agents. And from going to that open days, it was basically, they get to sort of, you know, fill you in more with how the industry works, sort of what potential you have, sort of grooming experience, so how to walk, sort of your attitude. So that really helped. So it gave me more sort of...
So it was like a recruitment process?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so it was a recruitment process, yes, you could call it that. And yeah, I mean, you know, it didn't particularly necessarily work out that easily for me around about that time. There was a lot of rejection. I did get scammed a few times. So you could say at the beginning, I think quite a few people would have given up in my situation, but it just gave me more determination to continue it.
No, good for you. And I think there's people out there know that we see what we see on TV, we see the magazines, we see the big name models out there. And it's easy to forget that it's a long road ahead. It's not easy, and the proportion of people who make it to the very highest level must be minimal, at least from what I understand, and you'll know more than me. I draw a parallel to the football industry that I worked in for many years myself, and young lads and young girls even aspire to be professional footballers. There's only a few places, only a few percent make it professionally. And people see the few that make it, they don't see the people who don't make it. And in my mind, Suzanne, what I'd like to know more, and what I think is really important, for the ones who don't get to the very top, and the ones who get to the top as well, what I think there should be a mechanism in place where they make it like a career path, where they give the young girls and guys an education, an A-level, a B-Tech, they send them to university. They can do modelling too, as well as, and whilst they're doing that, they can also get pastoral support, psychologically, the rejection. Now, you're a strong character and you have family support around you, but regardless of family support or no family support around you, it must be tough to get rejection after rejection. Now, I know anyone can be rejected in any field, but when you're being rejected, I would think on appearance, it must be more, the wounds could be deep, I think.
It's going to have an effect, especially over a long term, and not everybody has the emotional support. So, you know, when you don't have the maybe emotional support from family or friends, or, you know, you just don't have the capacity to understand what's going on in terms of maybe why you're rejected. Maybe your agent isn't really giving you the support in that sense to know what the reasons are. And over a build-up of time, it can start to have damaging effects, obviously giving you the low self-esteem, the low confidence. So it's really important that when you are, you know, pursuing a career in modelling, that you do fully understand the knockbacks, you know.
And that's where I think the pastoral support comes in, where some sort of mentor and some sort of coaching, or it's like in sport, you've got a sports psychologist that can help a long way towards the performer being at their best. Now, you've got these castings, and these castings are almost like a sporting event, like a football match. You're there, and it's on the day. I'm not a big believer in luck, Suzanne, but I think luck does play a part to a point. Preparation.
Of course it does. Being at the right time at the right place, you know, of course.
Yeah, and the more you put yourself out, the better chance of getting there. But that said and done, the reality is only a few succeed, if we want to call it success. Success to me is being the best you can be anyway. But in terms of people making it professionally, making a living out of it, it must be minimal. There's only so many places, so many people, so much demand. And I think for the most part, what happens to the people who don't make it professionally? Where do they go? What happens to them?
Well, this is, I think, you know, a certain amount will maybe, you know, try it for a short amount of time and realise it's not for them. So they move on to something else that is more suited for them. But with the others, you know, I think it can be very much a battle, you know, whereas it certainly was for me. I certainly didn't stop it, you know, I carried on. I think it was very, it was a lot of stopping and starting, really. But, you know, for some it's you know, a continuous journey, but they're on a constant high, you know, a low and high, so an up and down, should I say, you know, trying to battle through. But, you know, it's hard to understand when you're at such an early age, to understand psychologically, you know, the reasons behind the different aspects of modelling, because it's a tough industry to crack, it really is. And if you don't have support in different areas, or you don't love yourself, you don't respect yourself, you know, you're not kind to yourself in the process, there can be a lot of damaging effects along the way. You know, it causes many things, you know, a massive thing that does, you know, conclude is obviously your anxiety, depression, and it's things like that you really do need to watch, you know, especially if you're not keeping on top of things, you know, if you're going to constant casting after casting, or, you know, you're constantly getting knockbacks, or you're not looking after yourself, well, like I said, in an internal side as well as externally. You're not maintaining yourself, you're not eating the right foods, you're not sleeping enough hours, you're not drinking enough fluids. It's just a case of it all contributes. You know, so if you're not having that sort of advice or support or help in any way, it is, like I said, especially in the modelling industry. I mean, it does happen in all of industries as well, but in the modelling industry, which we're obviously more focusing on today, it's like I said, it can have such an impact.
And I think it'd be important to have someone as a support, pastoral support, who could point someone in the right direction. Sometimes someone says they're feeling down or depressed, and they can say, you know what, I suggest you go see someone qualified to help you. See a GP, see a professional. Don't suffer in silence. And it can be a lonely world, a lonely place, modelling, I would think, because you're out there, you're up against other people, you're competing, similar to sport, really on the road. And I think for me, people suffer in silence. I think if you've got someone who can pick up on that and help someone. And I think the one thing for me, you made that point as a 14-year-old, you'd seen people. And for me, Suzanne, it's great that you've got aspirations. I admire you for that. And you've done really, really well. You did it professionally. People aspire to do that, and good for you. You deserve every success. But for me, sometimes I think the 14-year-old sees the superstar and the glamour side, but also the unrealism of themselves. And we know that you made a great point there, how people manage to look after themselves and go about doing that. But the reality is that general society, it's unmaintainable. People got lives, and the young person, for me, has to realise that that's a very small percentage of people who get there, but also accept themselves for who they are.
Yeah.
You know, what you do is not who you are. In the Western world, we place a big emphasis on social status around what we do. Now, what we do isn't what we are. No matter how much of a superstar you are in sport, in business, in modelling, at some point, every career comes to an end. And if you're getting validation through the career, at the end of it, where do you go from there? But also, more importantly, my concern would be for the young person who great having aspirations, fantastic, I'm all for that, but I'm also for the support, because in their mind, you've got to realise that to be that size 0, to be that whatever it is these days that people aspire to be, it's not realistic.
No.
And they've got to love themselves for who they are. And you made some great points there about the grooming, the confidence, the workshops, and that's fantastic. But I want to see it go deeper, self-love, and I want to see people accept themselves for who they are and not think they've got to be a size, whatever it is.
A certain size. Because something I didn't mention earlier was with regards to the food disorders.
Yes.
So again, that's a vital thing. I mean, that obviously happens within the industry.
Yes.
As well as, you know, obviously outside of the industry, girls feeling they need to be this size 0. So again, that's something that you know is you do really need to. Yeah,
and if it's somebody's job and they've got a nutritionist, they've got a personal trainer, they've got all these people around them supporting them to do that, it's more tangible. If someone's making their way in the world and they're fighting to do that and so on and so forth, and that's one issue I've got in the media. I think that the media has this portrayal. I'd like to see the modelling industry represented by real people. I don't suggest that these superstars in the world of modelling are real people. They are real people. They're good people in their own right.
They have improved on that over the years, because it was to the point where you did just have those glossy magazines. I mean, they are making it more to the point where, like with commercial modelling, and I did a lot of the commercial model where it's more, you know, you do have to a certain degree the real models, you know,
represent real life reality.
Representing real life reality, and you know, it's good to have that, you know, because when people are looking at these magazines and feeling like they have to, you know, to excel to that, you know, they can't have any flaws, you know, and we need to, you know, at the end of the day, we need to accept who we are.
And flaws are beautiful. Flaws are beautiful. The beauty is the difference, isn't it? Really,
it's what makes us all unique and individual. And so it's important, and this is why, you know, like I said, this is why it is important to accept and love yourself and treat yourself well, be kind to oneself in the process. Because if you're not doing that, you do get yourself into all these situations of, you know, the anxiety, the depression, the food disorders. It all comes hand in hand.
Well, it can contribute towards that, for sure.
It all contributes. These are all factors, so it is important to stay on top of it all.
Yeah, no, for sure, and certainly in view of that, I would suggest anyone who is suffering to get the help they need, be it through the GP, through the medical referral, and I would emphasise anyone not to suffer in silence, because it's a lonely world out there and not easy, and I think sometimes for me, the exploitation is on various levels, because people have got their own agendas, they're busy, and I'm not having got any agents, they do for the most part, a lot of them do great work and their heart's in the right place, but ultimately, for me, Suzanne, there's a social responsibility to also look after these young people, or people of any age, to make sure that they flourish as a person, and we don't just see them as a product where we're discarding them when we're no use for them. We look after them.
That's it.
They are human beings. It's social welfare. We're not just putting them out there, and if they don't meet the criteria, well, sorry, you're away. Because we wouldn't want to be treated that way. We wouldn't want anyone to be treated that way, and I think that
it's very cutthroat in the industry. It's very cutthroat, and it's been able to be thick-skinned enough to accept that, you know, when you are going for, you know, different jobs, you know, different castings and things, that it's important to not take it personally.
Yes.
You know, unfortunately, it is a cutthroat industry, and you need to understand that when you go into it.
Of course.
But no, there's no reason.
But who explains that's cutthroat, Suzanne? Who tells? Is there anyone that says to anyone?
Well, no, I think
you'll work it out for yourself. And
to be fair, Jimmy, you do to a certain extent. You do have to work that out yourself. And again, it's another thing of being able to stay strong with a healthy mindset, but not to be too easily influenced by the different, because there is certainly some characters within the industry.
Yes.
And you know, you do have to be streetwise.
Yeah.
You know, to sort of understand and not be too vulnerable or
for sure.
Too naive. I mean, when you are at such a young age, you will be to a certain extent all those things. But it's being able to be sort of headstrong and be wise to it as well. But that takes, like I said, that takes time and experiences.
Of course.
But it's good to have that sort of advice beforehand. And I know to a certain extent some of the agents can do that, but when you do have a lot of people on your books, being able to share that information to each and every single one in detail is difficult.
Yeah, it's not easy, of course.
It's not easy.
But the practicality of the thousands of people who aspire to be, if not more, to reach all of them, for sure. I still think there's a social responsibility, and from what I can see from the inside looking in, more can be done, I think. If not individually, even in the classroom environment, education, and you won't reach everybody, but you reach one more that's being reached now, it's stepping in the right direction. Because on the outside, precisely, and I think on the outside looking in, we see in the eyes of corporation beauty, and it's very easy to be blinded by people's flaws and people's insecurities and people's issues, and we might think, well, what's he or she got to complain about?
Yeah, they don't see it. They're just seeing you from an external point of view, and I think when they're judging you constantly on your appearance and not seeing that you know, what's going on inside is a shame. And I had that to a big degree in my life. Very much you were judged more on your appearance rather than what was going on inside. And I had my battles. You know, I did have a lot of internal battles where I struggled with my confidence, very much very low self-esteem, and you know, when you sort of because I seeked a lot of validation from people. And you know, often they would be very confused because they'd think, well, why would you be doing that? Are you just fishing for compliments? That's not possible. But they don't really understand what's going on inside. They have no idea because they're just judging you from an external point of view. Because
if you go through a casting and you go through these job proposals and you're being judged on your appearance, it's bound to affect anyone psychologically.
Of course.
And psychologically, if you go for any job interview and you keep getting rejected, you're going to think there's something wrong. No matter, you could be a footballer, you could be a cricket player, you could be an athlete, you could be a butcher, a baker, cancer baker, be anyone. If you keep getting rejected, you're going to start to think, well, what's going on? And appearance being an external factor, it's going to have one's going to spill into the other. If you're doing it for a living and you're relying on your appearance for a living and you're being judged on that, it's going to bound to tie into your identity. And then away from the profession, you start becoming self-conscious and conscientious that people are judging that way. And some people might do, they might not do, but I think ultimately it won't bode well in terms of one feeling self-esteem and good about themselves, because if we're validating ourselves based on no matter how good we look in the eyes of corporation, there's always going to be someone who fits the bill better than somebody else. It's like sport. No matter how good you are as a sports person, there's going to be a time that someone else takes over from you, or someone else who fits with and I think for me, even at the top, it can be a lonely place, I would think, because people who go to the very top are the ones who get isolated. They're the ones who kind of think, well, what are they fussing about? Whenever people see someone who gets to the very top of their profession have any issues, they kind of think, well, what are they fussing about? They got the looks, they got the money, but with the human beings, they have bereavements, they have problems, and I'd like to see more people who reach the top come out and be open about how they feel. I think you're brave, Suzanne, talk about what you've been through and how you felt about yourself, because a lot of people would close it and see it as a vulnerability. I think it's good for you to do that, because there'll be people who watch this who think it's not normal to feel that way. There'll be young people thinking, is it normal for me to feel vulnerable? Is it normal to be self-conscious? And so normalise is a good thing, because I think that it makes it real. And once you normalise, you can start looking at ways you can deal with it, for sure.
Yeah, well, this is it. It's okay to, I think it's, a strong message, I want to convey to people starting out in the modelling industries. It's okay to be, fearful and scared, but it's more importantly, it's been able to express that, to have that support there, to be able to express that too.
Yes.
And if there is, certain situations you're facing, or just, the different factors that are contributing to making you feel low or triggering off things that just aren't healthy, then it's important to have that support, whether it is you need a referral to a GP or actual counselling, or whether it's a form of a coach or mentor.
No, and that's a great point. And I think for me, really, what I'm getting at is I don't want to cast a cloud in the industry. I'm sure there's some great things and many good things. I just think that, like all things, we can always improve. And I think ultimately, if you've got that, there's a safety net for people to live a productive, adaptive life in general, and not relying on the validation. Because what does the world mean? Anything? The meaning we give it. We give the world meaning. We decide who fits a certain criteria when we know. There's a bigger picture in life. But all that said and done, people out there listening and watching to what you've got to say, what are some of the things that you really enjoyed about modelling? What are some things you loved about modelling?
It was great when you got the casting.
Yes.
You got the job. I mean, it's fantastic. Some of the work. I mean, you take the. I mean, modelling isn't, like I said, like we've discussed. It's not all glamorous. You do have the not so good jobs. To the great jobs. I mean, some of the best jobs for me was the jobs I did in Dubai.
Okay.
I got to travel there and do a lot of fantastic catwalks like Tory Burch. So it was really exciting times, as well as I've loved the commercial work I've done more of in the UK.
Yeah.
I mean, from doing the Asda jobs, the photo shoots to the Tesco's. Just general fashion catalogues. It's not been even knitwear catalogues.
Yeah, no, fantastic.
You name it.
Yeah, no, fantastic.
I've done them all.
That's good.
So it's like I said, there's such a wide variety of divisions, and I've enjoyed majority of it, but I think more so the travelling aspects. It's been fantastic to really experience the different cultures when you're away. But Dubai was probably one of the more sort of glamorous types of modelling.
And that's fantastic. And you work really hard, and I think that sends a message out to anybody watching that you worked hard and you found a way to overcome the rejection. You found a way to you showed a lot of resilience and you kept going.
Definitely, it was very on and off. It wasn't always like I said. Sometimes you find you're doing it full-time for a while, and then you'd be doing it part-time, because sometimes, like I said, it's very difficult to maintain being a full-time model, and it's you do have to fill it up with doing other different types of work. No,
that's really important. I think some people, any career is challenging. It's not easy, whichever career you choose to go down. A career that's so competitive, then you're gonna suffer rejection. That's why I was drawn to the fact that I thought the story support and having people around people to help along the way would go a long way. It's not going to be easy, because you can't reach everybody. If you can reach as many as you can, and if they can run workshops also in areas of self-development, will go a long way to helping people, education academically too. But ultimately, in the end, like all things, you've got to work hard and you've got to put the effort in, and otherwise it's not going to come to you. And I think that's half the battle really is going out there. But so a casting, you've got a casting comes up. I would imagine a casting is like almost like a cup final in sport. You're out there. How many people go to a casting in general, Suzanne?
Oh God, it can vary. It really can vary. It depends really what job it is. I mean, with a casting, depending on the criteria the client's wanting. Okay. It could be, you could have a very small casting from, say, 20 up to a very large casting being about 1,000 throughout the day, walk-ins, It's very much a case of, it depends it really does depend what brand, what client it is, and you know.
So
exactly
like one in 1,000 chance, and even before you get to that 1 in 1,000,
huge brands.
And there's not already even before you get to that 1,000, you've got to be nominated. So even being selected for the casting is an achievement to a point, because getting there is one thing. I say achievements like you go become a Barry,
You have to improvise on the spot, because it can be a commercial. So when you're a TV commercial, and the casting director's like, right, okay, I need you to do this, or I need you to pretend you're walking down the street, and then you have this person that jumps out on you, and you're. It's all improvisation, but you have to do it there on the spot. I mean, you have no idea what they're going to ask you beforehand, so it's not like you can prepare, sort of, as your homework. But to me, it is important that when you are going to these castings, that you do prepare to a certain degree.
Oh, of course,
like when an agent's sort of putting you forward for this casting, make sure you know what the company's about at least.
Yes, do your research,
Yeah, do your research. Find out what sort of models they've used in the past. Find out what sort of thing they're looking for in terms of, speak to your agent. That's what your agent's there for.
For sure.
Providing they're sending you on castings that actually are fitting your criteria.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think also things like mental preparation, like visualization, rehearsal,
of course.
Anchoring, like being in the right state at the right time. And if you're focusing on 1,000 people being there, if you're focusing on, because we're keeping it real here, casting, generally speaking, is going to be someone going there who's got bills to pay, who's got financial pressure on one thing. We look at casting, we see the multi-million-pound film star, we see the multi-million-pound, but the reality is castings are about, the real life for me of the casting is about the person who's got these bills to pay. Their goal is to go up the ladder of the career they're in. So they're under so much pressure. Pressure is what we put upon ourselves, but pressure being, I need to get this job, or get this gig, or whatever. And under that sort of pressure, under that sort of stress, it's hard to perform. So if you can help someone, and I'm not saying by visualization, by doing mental strategy, is going to get the job, but at least you can walk away and say, I did the best I can. I couldn't have done any more than that. And I think that's where coaching comes into it. I think that a coach, and any agency for me, if any agency is watching this now, I would say invest in the coach, because investing in the coach is going to give you a better chance for your clients to get the job. Because if your clients are going in there underprepared, and you can talk to the agent, they can give you some subjective advice, but if you've got a coach, you can say, you know what, visualization, mental rehearsal, focus.
That's what it's all about, because when you're going in, obviously you have the, you're feeling anxious. You're going in, you're seeing all those other people as well. Then you do have this comparison, there's a lot of comparison sort of issues that a lot of models have, oh, I'm not good enough, they've just seen Joe Bloggs sitting next to you. It's kind of that you have to take into account as well. Exactly, but definitely the preparation is doing all those techniques, the meditation, the affirmations, everything, and it's all about self-care, really being kind to yourself along the way.
And the big thing is too, it's one person gets the job, the ones who don't. It's a lonely journey back home on the train or in the car, and you put all the eggs in that basket, and how do you pick someone back up again? How did you pick yourself back up again?
Well, I mean, like I said, you have to be pretty thick-skinned. I mean, there was, I think at the beginning of my journey, it was very much like, I felt sort of, oh, it's hopeless, I'm never going to get a job. And I think it's been able to change.
So when you didn't get a job, how did you feel when you didn't get the job?
I think at the beginning it was very much like, well, should I continue? Oh no, when am I going to get this job, and what's wrong with me? It was always taking it, because the thing is with the modelling industry, you can't take things personally.
That's a great point in life in general.
Everyone's different,
Of course,
the client's looking for many different things, and it doesn't mean to say because you don't get it over someone else, it doesn't mean to say you're not good enough.
Yes.
And it's learning to understand that. I mean, like I said, when I was going to, I'd say the first batch of castings and things, where I did very much have a sort of a negative mindset, and it does even throughout my further journey of modelling, your negative mindset does try to creep through, but it's maintaining that the positive affirmations to go, no, I'm not going to let you creep in, because it does have an effect on your performance. When you're standing there and you're asked to improvise for something, and you're in your head going, oh, I just don't feel like I can get this, then the performance you're giving off will be very much a negative performance.
Of course, yeah, definitely, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And all you can do is focus on the process, I think, and you've got the outcome, you've got the goal, then you got a process, the process being the steps you get in there. That's as much as anyone can do, which is easier said than done, one would think, but ultimately in the end, what else can we do? We can control what we can't.
Going back to the answer to your question is, it was basically, it took me a long time because I was always struggling with my confidence and self-esteem. So it really took me to really sort of sit back and work on myself and sort of do the workshops, you know, attend sessions, see coaches, and do a lot of reading as well. And over time, you know, you really do, you know, sort of, it does, you know, sort of drum into yourself. I mean, you know, to maintain that positivity. But it was, like I said, throughout my journey, it was a struggle. And you know, it's when you do more sort of you know, personal development. Do you sort of then look back and think, oh, you know, if only I could have done this, if only I could have done that. With hindsight,
for sure. Hindsight's easy. And with
you
hindsight,
know,
what would you do? Where do you begin?
In hindsight, I would.
You'd be wasting money.
I have to say, I was quite sheltered back in the day when I was a child. So it was very much really to I think the path I decided to take was very different from the way my family's paths have been. So I was kind of a bit of the black sheep of the family, and I think it would have been to understand the industry a lot, you know, properly, to really understand what I was going into, and to make sure I was doing it for the right reasons. I mean, I will admit I would say to a certain extent, I was doing it to seek validation. I think because of the bullying at school and maybe certain comments, you know, from different people throughout, it was very much, I want to prove you wrong. But like I said, I was, you know, I admire my determination then, because I still wanted to, you know, make sure I didn't, and I did. So it's again, I would also go to workshops because I really did struggle with the confidence and the low self-esteem. So I would go to workshops to find resources there to help build my confidence, so I could excel in these castings and excel at, I mean, even at jobs I've struggled, you know, even you could see, you know, from the early stages of my modelling career, it was a struggle, you know. So it's been able to go to have those resources to help. Again, with the nutrition, you know, I mean, like with the external point of view, I felt, you know, I generally did sort of look after myself, you know, externally. I mean, I trained as a beauty therapist as well, so that helped bring in the element of having the knowledge of, you know, products, of the skin, the body, so it all sort of helped, you know, contribute. But in terms of internally, I do feel, the confidence and the low self-esteem, and just really understanding yourself. I mean, it does take time. You learn that through experiences of life, of course. But I think it would have been able, you know, it would have to been able to be more wiser and just having more of an understanding of me, and being kind to oneself in the process would have really have helped me excel more.
No, that's really interesting stuff, and I think with hindsight it's always easy, and
definitely.
You can always look back, and we can always do something different. I think it's you being honest and open there, and I think that you've got a lot to offer, and I'd like to see more people like you go back in the industry and help young people along the way in any way they can. It's great that you can do that, because we know it is a tough journey, and we know that, you know, the road is long. It's not easy. So the next chapter, well, where now? Where are we going?
Where are we going? So I'm currently doing the ILM coaching mentoring course. So I do have clients currently on coaching. So it's going really well. Like I said, it's more, you know, I'm starting out as a journey for me. But I do feel from my experience I can really make an impact. on you know, sort of all people pursuing a modelling career, but not just within
No, you made the transition to corporation, to life in general. Yeah,
exactly,
sure.
to life in general. I really want to make a difference, and I don't mean that in a cheesy context.
No.
But I really do. It really inspires
me
to help
for sure. Yeah, no,
people
very
be the
so.
best version of themselves.
Yeah.
I've been through many situations, you know, low points, high points, and it's something I really feel it's time to give back, and yeah, I will do my utmost to be able to do that.
No, that's really good. I think it's been really interesting journey, and I think that you share some really wonderful stuff, and I'm sure there's people watching it now. There may be young people watching, there may be parents of young people watching. Now, if anyone wants to contact you, not necessarily for advice, just to know a little bit more about what you do, and as you embark on your journey.
Advice. I mean, that would, you know, not a problem at all. Please do get in touch.
For sure, and what I would suggest is that if anyone wants to get in touch with Suzanne, if you're under the age of 18, 19, I would suggest that you ask your parents first of all, that's for sure, to get in touch. Or if you know, parents are watching, you've got young people who are going in the industry. Suzanne's phenomenal. She's been in the business for a long time. She's done really well. She's professionally made a living out of modelling, which very few people do. Genuine person who is very knowledgeable, and I think you'll help a lot of people. And your contact details.
I mean, you can use, I do have an Instagram page and a Facebook page, but no, please just contact me through Suzanne Hunt business at gmail.com.
So, Suzanne Hunt business at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Suzanne Hunt business at gmail.com.
A mouthful.
Yeah, that's okay. and we've got that, and people can contact me through YouTube or Facebook, and I'll forward the details on if it's appropriate to do so. It's been a phenomenal interview. I really enjoyed it. I'm sure everyone who's watching has really enjoyed it too.
I hope so.
No, I think they will do. Fantastic. And you've been really honest and upfront, Suzanne,
well, that's
which is
what
great.
It's about the end of the day, you know, it's just being
a genuine person who really wants to help people, and we can see that for sure. And I think you will. I think there'll be people out there, whether it's to prepare for a casting, whether it's just a sounding board, or just someone to talk to in general, to get a different perspective. I think it's quite great what you do, and I think that you,
I'm also hoping to host some workshops soon as well, so that's something to look out for, and that will be helping in the areas of self-confidence, sort of, you know, personal development, self-acceptance, and loving oneself. So that's something to watch out for in the near future. Not just yet, one step at a time, but it's something very close to my heart, and I want to be able to sort of show people how they can do that. So.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll make a big impact in the world, and I'm sure you'll help people outside the world of modelling too, be it in life, in business, in corporation. I'm sure that wherever you apply yourself to, these transferable skills, this mindset you've developed through all these experiences are invaluable to people. Suzanne, thank you for coming on board. I wish you every success, and thanks for watching. Thank you.